I was, an entrepreneur that had success, and I was investing my own money, and I had, opportunity that other people may not, right? And that's why I love what you're doing with Kabila and Kabila Ventures, right? Is like
Yeah.
there are so many people that are so talented that may not be networked or connected, yet. And I think what you're doing to find them is awesome, right? So I love supporting it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I think the network, you hear people talk a lot about networks, and yeah, of course everybody needs financial capital, right? But I think social capital is arguably more important than financial capital, because social capital leads to financial capital. And the problem with we working with these overlooked founders and everything I do with Kabila and Kabila Ventures, we oftentimes lack the social capital. So it's, and the other thing is, you seen me post, I posted last week, sponsorship is greater than mentorship. There's a lot of talk about get a mentor. And I tell the story, like mentors be like, hey, this is a great conference, you should go register and go to the conference, right? I'm like, well, I could have found it on the internet myself, but thanks. But sponsors be like, yo, there's a great conference coming up, I know the organizers, they have a slot on the speaking panel, I pinged them about you, they're going to pay you $1,000 to come talk for 45 minutes, email this person. Wait, what? That is the difference between a sponsor and a mentor. So please, y'all, get you a sponsor. Your thoughts, David?
Yeah, like I think I know, like mentorship, of course, is valuable, but like it's much more valuable to have the connection to the right person or some dollars, right, committed to a thing you're doing to make it happen. And I think mentorship can lead to that, right? Like it's a relationship that can build over time.
It can. You have to build trust.
Yeah,
100%. But overlooked founders are over mentored and underfunded.
Yep.
So like, I think I did a podcast episode a while ago on parentsmakingprofits.com about how to turn mentorship relationships into sponsor relationships, because it's about building trust and it takes time. But ultimately you need to turn mentors into sponsors, because again, folks are overlooked founders are over mentored and underfunded.
Yeah, but I think that's a super interesting topic. I would love to. There should be some more content on that, I think.
What do you want to do?
Well, what I don't want people to hear is, well, you're offering to give me some advice, and so I don't want to engage with you because I really need the sponsor.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
I don't want people to hear that, even though you're not saying it.
Okay, well, thanks for clarifying, because that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah. But I think teaching people that, or helping them understand, like, how do these relationships actually evolve, right? Because I think that's the right word, evolve. And it's pretty rare that, someone's just going to jump in and do something,
that's right,
means whipping out the checkbook, right?
Yeah. So you have thoughts about how these relationships can evolve? Because we can come back another time and have that conversation.
That whole cliche, if what you want is money, ask for advice. If what you want is advice, ask for money. Like there's something to that.
There is, but also I think it's about building trust, right? Like even when you met Brad, he's like, this sounds dope, but I don't know you. Like, bro, like, who are you? Wait, let me check you out a little bit. Right? Will you do what you say you're going to do? Right? He did the same thing. I already knew him a little bit, because when I went through Generator, so those who don't know me, I went through Generator. I met Brad and David in Generator 2013. They went to Google Hangout. And then, so I recently went through Techstars Austin. So I'm a Techstars alum as well. So when I started the Parentpreneur Foundation, which is, empowering Black parentpreneurs to legally leave legacy for their beautiful Black children, I got that email from Brad, because I was telling you guys, hey, I want to start a foundation. You're like, I'll go back and forth with you about over email, right? You're like, it's hard. I'm like, bro, like telling me something's hard simply doesn't land with me, because at the end of the day, it's hard being Black some days. So I'm like, that means nothing to me. But I got an email out the blue after George Floyd was murdered from Brad, and it was just subject line, nobody in the text, because that's how real bad boys move, right? Game for a 30-minute Zoom from Brad Fell, right? I'm like, heck yeah. I'm like, but is there anything else I'm supposed to know? And he's like, and then nothing in the body of the email, bro. And I'm like, he's like, look, I want to know what 2 things you're working on to address racial injustice and inequality. No, what things you're working on to address racial injustice and inequality I can put my time, money, or attention toward. Right. So we get on this, we get on the Zoom, and I'm like, you remember that foundation I told you I was going to start a while ago? He said, yeah. I said, well, now it's just for Black people. He goes, I'm so glad you did that. and then he goes, so this is what I'm getting at. When you guys said you worked on some stuff together to build trust, build rapport. He goes, what would a 12-month operating plan look like? Why don't you throw it up in a Google Doc and I'll co-create it with you. So I got that thing right back to him, right? He said, this is great. He said, what would a 6-month plan look like? Got that thing right back to him. This is awesome. He said, assume 3 things, one of which is a $50,000 grant for my foundation to get you started. And so I think this is a great lesson because I find it as a cheat code, especially if you're super early stage and you're like trying to raise some angel money. If you know people who angel investors, one of the things that I did is I reached out to a few angels. Hey, I'm working on this pitch deck because, we revised the business model after I went to Austin, right? It was revising the pitch deck and all that. I say, do you want to help me? I'd love to get your thoughts on this. Like, help me get your thoughts on this pitch. Like, help me shape this. And that's a cheat code because now they learn to trust you. You do what you say you're going to do. You execute. It's a cheat code to build trust and to get the sponsorship. Go ahead, buddy.
That third one, I think, is you execute. Like that's just, a lot of times, there's a lot of people in the world that say, I'm going to do something, or I have this idea, and it's very hard to process. Like, who do you trust? Who do you, like, hey, great idea. That's not enough. Like, we've learned in Techstars that great entrepreneurs actually do stuff, right? Even if they don't have resources, they do stuff. They try to create, they run through the brick wall. And those are the people that you want to back because that's what it takes, right? And so you're going to get homework from your mentors. You're going to get, this like, hey, let's collaborate on something because I don't have to commit yet. And when you do that and you execute well, right, and you turn it around and you listen and you give feedback to them and it's a two-way relationship, that's what builds the trust. I love it.
100%. That is a cheat code.